What's going on, Cowboys fans? Chris Daughtry back with you guys for another edition of the Cowboys Report, filling in for Tom Downey here for the next couple of days. We're going to be talking the latest Cowboys news and rumors out there. There's been some trade rumors that we want to talk about, and there's also some rumors around who could possibly be the next contract extension candidate for the Dallas Cowboys. Before we get into that, though, I want to ask you guys to share today's video to all your Cowboys friends out there, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. Go click the share icon right now and send it to social media. All right, let's go ahead and start with some trade rumors here. With the injury to Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, there's been an idea or a suggestion being thrown out there that the Cowboys should actually trade Joe Milton to the Bengals. And I don't know necessarily if Joe Milton's better than anything they have right now. I definitely don't think he is better than Jake Browning. But at the end of the day, do the Cowboys really want him after how bad he played in the preseason? The Cowboys traded for Joe Milton after they lost both Cooper Rush and Trey Lance this offseason. They got a 2025 7th-round pick and Joe Milton for a 2025 5th-round pick. Now, you might not end up getting a 5th round back for Joe Milton, but maybe you could get a 6th. Maybe you could get a 7th for him. That's better than nothing, I think. Maybe you could even get at least a fresh body at that cornerback spot, maybe like a Marco Wilson or a DJ Ivey. They're not great options either, but at least they're healthy, and the Cowboys right now have a very, very banged-up cornerback room. Joe Milton in the preseason, he's got a strong arm, that's for sure. We definitely know that. And, I think at times, it could really help him if he didn't throw the ball as, hard. He doesn't really have a ton of touch on it. And, he got sacked 3 times in the preseason as well. Just, made a lot of bonehead mistakes. It was fun, at points, but for the most part, he just did not really play very well. And, you do also still have Will Grier on the practice squad, so maybe you could call him up, but it's at least an option, maybe that the Cowboys could go out there and maybe get some draft capital in return for Joe Milton. So let me know what you guys think down in the pinned comment of today's show. Would you trade Joe Milton to the Bengals for either, maybe a 7th or a 6th round pick? Let me know what you guys think. Type Y for yes or N for no down at the pinned comment of today's video. Like I said, you do have Will Grier already right now on your practice squad, and he wasn't great in the preseason this year either. But if you remember back to that 2023 preseason game versus the Raiders, he went absolutely insane. Over 300 yards, took care of the football, also had 2 touchdowns in that game. Now, to be fair, he's never really played in the regular season in the NFL, so maybe you don't necessarily want to bring him up to the 53-man roster. Maybe you need to go out there and sign another quarterback, but, I do think right now Will Grier is probably a better option for a backup quarterback than Joe Milton is right now, so if you want to move off Joe Milton, maybe you could get at least something in some draft capital for him. All right, we'll continue with some more rumors here in just a second, but today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I use Prize Picks for a ton of different types of sporting events, whether it's professional football, baseball, basketball, college sports, MMA, and so much more. Prize Picks is a ton of fun, and if you guys know ball, you can win real money all season long on Prize Picks. This is what we got cooked up for this weekend's slate of games, going with Caleb Williams, more than a passing touchdown, only needs 1 on that front. CeeDee Lamb, going back to last year, 4 straight games with at least 100 yards receiving, so going with a more than 81.5 receiving yards for CeeDee Lamb. And then Patrick Mahomes going with a more than on passing yards for him. That is the max discount. Only needs a half passing yard. So that one's definitely going to happen. Make sure you get those max discounts into your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is super simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money today. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 different states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link's down in the description of today's show. It's also going to be down at the pinned comment of today's show as well. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now, Jerry Jones, when he did his weekly interview on 103 The Fan, actually hinted at the Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey might be the next player to actually get a contract extension, and I think this is a no-brainer. I think Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker in the NFL. When you look at his stats throughout his career, I mean, he's been money all the way. Brandon Aubrey, it's insane when you look at that 60-plus yarders. 4 for 6 on 60-plus yarders, 50 to 59 yards. He's only missed 1 in his career. He's only missed 2 from 40 to 49. I think this is a no-brainer right now. I definitely think that the Cowboys should pay Brandon Aubrey. And look, he's a kicker. It's not going to cost that much at the end of the day. And, look, moving off of Micah Parsons, that definitely hurt a lot of people. It definitely made a lot of people mad. I totally understand that. But kind of the reasoning behind that was to be able to pay some of these other guys. And they've already got, kick-started doing that. So I think Brandon Aubrey's definitely a prime candidate to be the next guy to get a contract extension. So will the Cowboys extend Brandon Aubrey during this 2025 season? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Type 1 for yes or type 0 for no. All right, this is exactly what Jerry Jones had to say on a possible Brandon Aubrey contract extension. He said, certainly it's coming. We'll be looking at that probably have had communication since the kick, talking about that game-winning kick, but he is certainly in the future. And I don't think it would really, hurt the checkbook that much if you want to go out there and pay Brandon Aubrey that contract extension, especially doing it early. That's something that the Cowboys don't really do that often. Now, kickers are a little bit weird when it comes to the guaranteed money as well. They're structured a little bit differently sometimes. Harrison Butker right now is making $6.4 million a year, guaranteed $17.75 million a year. But then you just go down to what Evan McPherson's getting right now with the Bengals. He's making $5.5 million, but he's only guaranteed $5 million as well. So that might also be another thing that you could get away with Brandon Aubrey. I don't think he's necessarily a guy that's going out there, looking to get, the max guaranteed money. You never know, I guess, at the end of the day. But, I think he should be the highest paid kicker, and I think the Cowboys definitely have that salary cap space to make that happen. So would you make Brandon Aubrey the highest paid kicker in the NFL? Let me know what you guys think. Type A for yes or B for no down in the comments section of today's video.